Haribol, dear devotees. Welcome to Vine of Devotion, our Rupa Shiksha program, week 4, part 2. In the last video, we got so into the Bengali grammar that we didn't really spend so much time discussing this verse, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. So in order to just not brush over this very important verse, I'm making this extra video. Also, we need to briefly go over the verse Muktanam Api Siddhanam so that we can stay on schedule. And then next Thursday, we'll be going over the verse Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. I'm sitting here right now just after a Zoom session that we had going over this verse. I think there were 11 devotees present, and everybody gave such beautiful explanations, all coming at a completely different angle. And it was so inspiring, and it's making me feel a little bit inadequate with what I've prepared here now. But I'm just going to move along with what I already have. The pure devotee of Krishna is Nishkam. He has no desire for himself. So even if some great calamity may seemingly befall him, he is completely peaceful. He's undisturbed and unfazed. We have seen many examples like that of Prahlad Maharaj, of Srila Haridas Thakur, of our Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes, as a pastime, these great calamities happen to pure devotees, apparent calamities. So why would Krishna allow these things to happen to those who are so dear to him? It is because these situations expose, they broadcast the glories of these devotees everywhere, to everyone. A circumstance that would cause extreme agony to any regular person, to the pure devotee is a cause for supreme joy. Like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Tomar sevai dukkha hoy jato, sheo to parama sukha. Any suffering experienced in the Lord's service is the topmost joy to them. Our Guru Varga, they are the direct associates of the Lord. They are immersed completely and always pratikshana in the Madhurya Lila of Shri Radhika Madhava, like we sing in Guru Vashtakam. So whatever happens in this world to their physical bodies is so distant from them. It doesn't affect them. The previous verses we went through, we saw how rare the pure devotee is. And so this verse applies to them. It doesn't apply to some wannabe aspiring devotee like me. But one time I heard an explanation that made this verse all the more relevant to someone like me. After my Gurudev's disappearance, it was a difficult time. Things got strange, and disturbances continue on to this very day. This is something that naturally happens when such a glorious devotee returns to the Nitya Lila and this world is bereft of their physical presence. At this time in 2011, I moved to Puri. And I think it was then when I heard an explanation of this verse that had a real deep impact on me. I can't remember the source. I think it was Vangsi Bodhan Prabhu quoting Srila Bhaktivigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. That's what I have in my head. But just so you know, it might be mixed with my own ideas as well. Alright, so we hear about how Krishna is like the sun. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Hoy Andakar. Jaha Krishna, Taha Nahi, Mayar Adhikar. Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is darkness. Wherever Krishna is present, the darkness of Maya cannot remain. So Krishna is like the sun, and the sun dissipates darkness. And another thing about the sun is that there are planets and countless asteroids and comets constantly circling around it. Okay, so I don't know if what I'm saying exactly accords with Vedic cosmology. Really, all that cosmology stuff is completely beyond me. I've never gotten into it so deeply, so please just bear with me. So trillions of objects are revolving, orbiting around the sun. Some are moving closer at a slower speed, meaning they're more peaceful and less frantic. and others are at a greater distance and they're moving at a higher velocity. But regardless of the distance, everybody is on the same roller coaster ride of material existence, moving around and around, sometimes elated and sometimes devastated. But Krishna, always and forever, is at the center, fixed and unchanging. He is nirvikar. He undergoes no transformation at any time. He is unaffected by the material energy. Similarly, the pure devotees, Krishna's associates, are 100% connected to him. So they too, like Krishna, are completely unaffected, unchanging. They aren't like any of these objects at a distance from him, rotating around and around. So the best, most sure way, really the only way that we can become peaceful, is if we attach ourselves to those who are already attached to Krishna. Then we too can get released off this topsy-turvy material existence and become Shanta, peaceful. We can never directly attach ourselves to the Krishna sun. It is unimaginably far away. So Krishna has sent his dear devotees, his extensions, and their only business in coming here is to bring us back to our true home. You know what will guarantee continued disturbance in our lives? If I attach myself, if I give my heart to any other person other than the Lord's dear Mahabhagavat devotees. It doesn't even matter if someone is an advanced Vaishnav. If they aren't on this level, fully connected to Krishna, then they'll bring us along with them, rotating in the ups and downs of material life. When I say giving my heart, I mean placing all my delicate, precious faith in someone. If what I'm saying here doesn't seem fully accurate, please mention in the comments. Or if you have any words of our acharyas or examples to back this up or disprove it, please also mention in the comments. Really, I want to know if I'm ever going off track, so please don't ever hesitate to mention. Something I was just thinking about recently is, what about a disciple of a guru who is on a higher level, but not of Mahabhagavat status, and the disciple knows this? Should the disciple unconditionally offer his heart to that person? This is not a topic that I've delved into so deeply, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. What I've understood is that guru is taking an enormous responsibility for that disciple. Hari Bhaktivilas states, the faults of a counselor fall on his king, and the sins of a wife fall on her husband. In the same way, a spiritual master receives the sins of his disciple. That is certain. I'm sure there are deep explanations on this verse, but at any rate, that disciple's guru, although maybe not perfect, is making an enormous sacrifice for him. So the disciple is always indebted to him and must show deep gratitude. Unless that guru has gone off the path, is making severe Vaishnava aparad, or is barring his disciple from associating with a Mahabhagavat, should the disciple ever have the fortune of coming in contact with one, then that disciple must always deeply honor and follow that guru. But I still don't know about fully offering his heart to that person. Let me know if you've heard anything more on the topic. I've seen it happen many times that persons gave their heart. They put their entire faith in a nice devotee, and that devotee, being a conditioned soul, didn't always pass all of Maya's tests. And the faith of those persons were either damaged or fully shattered. Someone I know whose faith was hurt in this way even began to doubt our Guru Varga. That was a real shock for me, a real eye-opener, how dangerous it is to put our faith in a conditioned soul. After understanding this principle a little, I became a lot more cautious of who I would place my trust in, and I wouldn't be so disturbed when very nice devotees would fall down, even those I had lots of affection for and regard for. I learned that I have to be so selective of who I put my faith in. If it's my fate in this life, I'm never again to be graced by the physical association of a Mahabhagavat like my Gurudev, then so be it. My only duty is to pray every day for that kind of Sangha. And also, I should try to be around those who are truly longing, so that maybe some of their longing will spark in my heart as well. If I'm sincere in my prayers, then Krishna, maybe, just maybe, will be merciful to me and send someone. But really, it's not up to me. And as we'll learn in the next verse, it is so rare, muktanam api siddhanam. Such an opportunity is not such a cheap thing that we may have at all times. It's not to be taken for granted. My prayer should be that in this life, or in any future life, that I won't try to fill this gap of not having a living sadhu by just selecting some person that attracts me. Oh, such beautiful Harikatha with the conclusions of our scriptures so perfectly and authentically presented. Oh, this person has so many nice qualities, such humility and such compassion. And the kirtan is so nice and such a loving community. But no, may I never become allured like this and fall into such a trap. Chakshudan dila jay, janme janme prabhu shay. The criteria that our Guru Varga gives for what makes one a genuine Shiksha Guru is that they always increase our nishta, our connection, our faith in our Diksha Guru. There are many nice quotes on this topic. Even with friendships that I make with people on my own level, I should look deeply within and see, is that friendship favorable to this connection or not? Any person or so-called sadhu that diminishes my dedication to my Gurudev must be kept at a far distance. As we have heard, our connection to Gurudev is not bound by material time or space. He is just as accessible now as he has ever been. But the lacking is coming from my side, my not sincerely making the endeavor to listen to his Harikatha with a mood of surrender, trying to follow his instructions. Someone might think that this attitude is too exclusive. What, does that mean that you're just going to turn your backs on all the other wonderful Vaishnavas in the world just because they don't happen to be your Gurudev or on the same level as your Gurudev? But no, this is not the case at all. When our sole focus is connecting with Gurudev, then our appreciation of others becomes all the more deep and genuine. My connections with others is no longer based on how much satisfaction or validation or recognition or whatever other temporary benefits I get out of them. I need all the help I can get to remember my connection with my Gurudev. Ekaki amar nahi pai bal. Instead of focusing on differences that I have with certain God brothers and God sisters, what if I just focused on their individual, unique connections with Srila Gurudev? Their relationships with him is of such glory and value that I can never estimate. My Gurudev said that this applies to even those who are not initiated. The person may not be my God sibling or my senior, but it applies to any person who shows even the slightest reverence for my Gurudev. To that person, I will feel deep gratitude. Who cares about what faults someone has? That will all wash away one day, and what will be left remaining, ultimately, is the person's faith. Pure faith is the first quality that develops within that we'll keep for eternity, even in perfection. It's the first glimpse into my real eternal nature. My Param Gurudev said, "Even if a sadhak suffers from every sort of fault, Guru Nishta alone is capable of granting him entrance into the kingdom of Paramartha, the greatest wealth, Prem. In the absence of Guru Nishta, however, all good qualities combined cannot help a sadhak reach the realm of Paramartha. As such, Guru Nishta is the cornerstone in the attainment of divine love for Krishna. I shall look for that one quality in everyone that I also want for myself. Everyone on the path of bhakti has some unique connection, and that is why they're here. Whatever fault someone has is irrelevant and temporary. But what is true, significant, and spiritual, eternal, is that person's faith, to whatever degree it has developed. I'm struggling. I'm failing all the tests I'm put through. But that's all right. All I need to do is develop this mood in my heart. Guru Sevak Hoy Manya Apnar, revering the servants of Sri Guru, and then I'm guaranteed success in spiritual life.
If a disciple had Guru Nishtha, then what is the symptom of Guru Nishtha? Even a dog related to Guru, he will give so much proper respect. And if he does not give proper respect to any related, whether initiated or not initiated, no harm. And if he has no regard, honor for him, then actually he has forsake something. Really not Guru Nishtha.
So this is the process for becoming free from bhukti, mukti, and siddhi, and becoming nishkam, and ataev, therefore, always shanta, always peaceful and happy. So now we come to the next verse, which strongly expresses that the association of pure devotees is not something cheap that we can take for granted. How truly rare it is. According to how much we're able to realize the rarity of something, to that degree we'll be able to value it and appreciate it. So this is a very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that Mahaprabhu is quoting. Muktanam apisiddhanam narayana parayana sadurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. The second line of the verse previous to Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta is kind of like a Bengali translation of this verse. Koti mukta madhe durlabh eka Krishna bhakta. Among crores of liberated persons, one rare individual may be a devotee of Krishna. So let's try saying this. Muktanang apisiddhanam narayana parayana sadurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. The translation to this is simple. O illustrious sage, Mahamune, even, api, among crores. It's koti. Remember, koti means 10 million. And kotishu is plural, so that means tens of millions. So, O learned sage, even among tens of millions of those who are mukta, who are liberated, or who have reached perfection, siddha, to find a peaceful soul, a prashanta atma, prashantatma, to find a peaceful soul devoted to Narayan, Narayana, Parayana, is very sudurlabha, is very rare. The word order in Sanskrit verses is often in an order that looks a bit mixed up, to me at least. Like kotishu on the last line relates to the words on the first line, muktanam and siddhanam. I mean, the grammar of Sanskrit is so perfect and beautiful that you can do that kind of stuff, and there's no problem. Anyhow, let's try going through this following the Sanskrit word order. Muktanam apisiddhanam. So muktanam, among the liberated. Apisiddhanam, among those who have reached perfection. Narayana parayana. One who is devoted to Narayan, to find one who is devoted to Narayan. Sudurlabha prashantatma. Sudurlabha, extremely rare. Prashantatma is such a peaceful soul. Kotishvapi mahamune. Even among crores, even among tens of millions of those muktas and siddhas, Mahamune, O illustrious sage. I'm not going to go over this verse as many times as we've gone over other verses that we've memorized because you're not required to memorize this one. But anyhow, let's try to memorize it. Muktanam apisiddhanam, muktanam apisiddhanam, muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana, narayana parayana, narayana parayana. Let's do these two lines together. Muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana, muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana, muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana, muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana, muktanam apisiddhanam, narayana parayana. Sudurlabha prashantatma, sudurlabha prashantatma, sudurlabha prashantatma, koteshvapi mahamune, koteshvapi mahamune, koteshvapi mahamune. Sudurlabha prashantatma, koteshvapi mahamune, sudurlabha prashantatma, koteshvapi mahamune, sudurlabha prashantatma, कोटिष्वपि महामुने सुदुर्लभ प्रशान्तात्मा कोटिष्वपि महामुने सुदुर्लभ प्रशान्तात्मा कोटिष्वपि महामुने. Okay, so now we'll say the verse one time looking at the words, and then I'm going to go over it 10 times without looking at the words. And if you haven't got it by now, then you can just rewind the video and go over the practice again. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma koteshvapi mahamune. All right. If I said anything earlier in this video that disturbed anyone or that wasn't correct, then please correct me and please forgive me. The next verse we'll be going over on Thursday, Brahmanda Brahmitekon Bhagyavan Jeev, is probably one of the most famous and important verses of Rupa Shiksha. And now I have the daunting task of preparing some kind of explanation for it. If you have anything special that you'd like to share with me about it, then please do. Alright, see you Thursday. Jai Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami Pad Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
कबे नवद्वीपे सुरधनि तटे निता